The road to hell is paved with good intentions. What is a real-life example of this? The introduction of non-native species as a means of solving an environmental problem. Hawaii resident here. It's been the bane of our existence. Invasive species goes all the way back to Polynesians. They brought pigs and chickens for food. They cause all sorts of problems now that they are wild. We also have mongoose. Rats were decimating the local bird population. So the government released mongoose to handle the problem. However, mongoose are diurnal and rats are nocturnal. So instead of going after the rats, they went after the birds. Cats. Brought as pets, now they are an ecological menace. They love eating the local birds. See a pattern? Edit, rats eat bird eggs, not the birds themselves. It has the same impact to the population though. I went to the Galapagos and noticed all the street cats were extremely skittish. The reason why didn't click with me until a guide explained how challenging it is to preserve the delicate ecosystem on the islands with the import of pets and livestock. Don't get me wrong, I love cats. But they can spell devastation for local bird and rodent populations. Gotta do what you gotta do, which in this case is sadly extermination until people stop trying to bring them over. It was an adjustment while traveling to some countries that cats aren't cute, clean, house pets, but are big murderous rats living in sewage. Had to train myself not to want to pet them. On the other side of that, it clicked why rats can make good pets if they're not out living that feral sewer life. We bought a hamster a few years ago for the kids, and the pet store said that rats are actually a much better rodent pet because they don't bite like hamsters do. Hamsters bite so much. Had some as a kid. My sister bred them. The dwarf hamsters were the nastiest ones. Super territorial and just plain mean. Teddy bear hamsters were much nicer. Sister got a rat and the difference in personality is astounding. I stick to guinea pigs. Don't bite. Not as smart as rats but they live 3-4x longer. Rats generally only live a couple of years. I had rats once. Couldn't do it again because of the lifespan. The sweetest things, but I can't handle losing a pet that frequently. I have a rabbit now. She's a little jerk sometimes but gets away with it by being cute. It really is hard because they have so much personality and intelligence packed into that tiny body with a tiny lifespan. You fully mourn the loss of a good friend and pet every couple of years. I tell myself I quit getting rats because my current girl cat is a vicious murder cat. She's destroyed 2 birds that accidentally got in our house, but the truth is I can't handle losing such good, sweet, lovely rats in such a short time anymore. The tragedy of the octopus if those things lived more than 3 years and actually passed knowledge to their offspring, Jesus duck. We'd all be slaves in Octo World. Probably. Their smarts make them successful. But the whole dying after they duck lay eggs really holds them back. Maybe one day there will be an evolution where they don't self-destruct after mating. Haiti did not have cholera. A disastrous earthquake hit Haiti in 2010. After the earthquake, humanitarian forces from the UN arrived to help, and the Nepalese contingent reintroduced cholera to Haiti. This epidemic has since infected approximately 850,000 people and killed over 10,000. From the official UN report on that, ochre.org, cholera arrived in Haiti in October 2010, soon after the arrival of a new contingent of United Nations peacekeepers from a cholera-infected region. The scientific evidence now points overwhelmingly to the responsibility of the peacekeeping mission as the source of the outbreak. 9,145 persons have so far died and almost 780,000 have been infected. And this isn't even the biggest crisis Haiti has on its plate right now. The introduction of kudzu for erosion control. It has become invasive and girdles and kills plant life above ground without establishing proper roots, therefore causing soil erosion. So apparently kudzu is not the sole plant that does this. There are other invasive vines, also from Asia, that grow similarly but all get lumped together with kudzu. Also, I thought it was initially introduced for livestock foraging? In our experience, cows and horses won't touch it. The answer to it where I live is goats. Everyone out here has goats, and they're steadily destroying the kudzu in our area. Edit, lol, I get it, some of y'all's cows eat kudzu or you found an account of it on Google. Our heifers never ate it, but I reckon they were picky and spoiled since we were raising them for beef. They were grass-fed and we gave them square bale hay instead of round bales, and lots of corn. Most moral panics? Stranger danger, convincing people in the 1970-90s that hundreds of thousands of American children were being yoinked into random cars by evil strangers each year, while downplaying and underfunding the resources that could actually help decrease child abduction. Child abductions not only never came anywhere near those huge numbers, but it was and still is nearly always a custodial issue or a very close family member. Teaching people to be wary of kidnapping is great, directing all their fears toward vague spooky strangers and not helping people learn how to actually prevent kidnapping is kinda shit. The bigger impact was on the kids born in the late 90s and onward. The stranger danger era basically created an entire generation of paranoid helicopter parents. Most likely also directly contributed to the end of communities and increased isolation. Yes. I've been screaming this for years. We are in a loneliness epidemic for a few reasons I'd wager, but this seems to be a no-brainer of a massive contributing factor. My mom speaks blissfully about her childhood, running through the streets of bikes with her friends, playing games and exploring, all with a community of adults who'd more or less keep an eye out. Even as she recognized how important that was for her own development, the whole stranger danger combined with cultural satanic panic meant that her own children were effectively on lockdown. To some of her credit, she couldn't have as she wanted to because it was such a widespread cultural phenomenon and parents were all too eager to snitch on each other, and as a single mom, mine didn't have time for additional scrutiny, but this was a massive dynamic change. Your last point is so true. I want badly to have free-range kids like I was, but people literally get CPS called on them for giving their kids the kind of freedom I had, and because it's not the norm there aren't any other kids out there for them to play with anyway. Some friends of mine knew those punk parents in Brooklyn that let their teenage daughter watch their younger kid while they went to a bar show. My older sister used to do that for my parents all the time. My parents weren't going to punk shows, but they were probably going out to dinner with friends having a few drinks out on the town. Those punk parents in like 2017 got CPS called on them crucified on social media. I bet those punks are way better parents than my emotionally distant but conservative mom-dad. The problem was living in Brooklyn. You can't be around rich people and not uphold their norms without being crucified by them. George W. Bush admin created subsidies on corn to promote the production of ethanol to be used in fuel, etc. better for the environment and so forth. Couple of downstream effects. 1. Ethanol in fuel lowers the fuel efficiency, so you have to buy gas more frequently, more of an inconvenience, but that's why fuel with no ethanol is usually slightly more expensive. 2. Corn sold for other purposes than ethanol didn't qualify for the subsidies, so there was a strong financial incentive to sell to ethanol producers instead of for food. This drove the price of food corn, and food that uses corn-derived ingredients, up, affecting poor people the most. 3. The financial incentives were so strong that farmers were buying up cheap land in areas that were very unsuitable for corn production or switching away from crops that would grow more easily if they couldn't afford more land. In western Kansas, corn needs to be heavily irrigated in order to grow. There is an enormous aquifer that stretches from South Dakota to the Texas Panhandle. Increased irrigation combined with a years-long drought drained the aquifer to the point that the city of Hayes has to truck their water in. Edited to add line breaks. Edited again to say thank you for the awards and the likes, kind strangers. Why do so many duck-ups revolve around corn? Corn subsidies have also led to corn syrup being mass used as a sweetener. Those parents who solve all their kids' issues and don't make them stress about consequences of their own actions. Their kids just turn into inept and entitled adults who still act 15 for decades and not only have a harder life for themselves but make life miserable for everyone around them too. Edit. 1. Yes, it's bad to go too far the other way. Raising a child is a balancing act, I get that, but ignoring a child isn't usually from good intentions while spoiling them often is, and that was the prompt smile too. If this sounds like it happened to you, I promise you that you can get yourself out of the cycle. It sucks and it hurts and it's unpleasant, but you can do it if you want to. Get ready to fail, and then keep trying anyway. Persistence will be a new skill, and you will be bad at it. And that's okay. You didn't do this to yourself, you don't need to feel shame. Digging yourself out, however, is something you'll be doing yourself, and you can take pride in every step you make at the right direction. I've been watching the show Bluey with my baby boy recently, and there was an episode that got me to stop and really think. Bluey and her dad are at a park, watching her younger sister and several other kids play on their own on the playground equipment. One by one, each of the kids started encountering difficulties that seemed overwhelming, but could be resolved easily if Bluey or her dad stepped in. The dad, instead, told Bluey to just watch and see what happens. Each kid goes through a brief moment of despair before growing determined and trying a final time, and each one finds their own form of success. The entire episode is about letting your kids to find solutions of their own. I had never been taught this. I have a policy with my kids and I have to remind myself BC sometimes either it's easier or the hurt in me wants to protect them save them, but what we have is this: if they are having trouble or difficulties with doing something, homework, cleaning, project, or with people, bullying etc., they can come talk to me and I ask, is this just a talk or do you need me to help? Most of the time it's no, just a talkvent, but a few times they have asked for help. It allows them to know I'm here for them and it gives them the ability to figure stuff out on their own, but most importantly allows me to not jump in and try and fix everything for them. It's not easy sometimes. My daughter, 5, only child and grandchild on both sides of the family, so always has at least one adult giving her full attention at all times, often comes to me and tattlescries over a minor upset. I mean something as little as a 3-year-old friend grabbed a toy they were both playing with or someone she's playing with didn't do it the way she wanted. Immediately she's over to me and wants me to fix it without trying anything herself. I tell her take a breath and ask what she's done to try and fix it herself. Has she asked for the toy back or told him to stop? Has she said I want you to do this while playing? I always tell her try to fix your own problems first. Come to me if you still need help, but you've got to be able to figure things out yourself. I won't always be here to help, you need to know how to do it.